Hey there, welcome back to Mind Dump Monday. I hope everyone had a great Christmas holidays. If you celebrate other things, I hope you are just enjoying the holiday season. We've got New Year's Eve coming up, and with that comes a time of reflection. What happened this past year? Now, talking to athletes, talking to coaches, something that often gets missed is what did we do over this past year? What worked, what didn't work? And I think it's important that we take time out of our busy schedules. Right now is generally a lot of downtime for athletes and coaches before we go back to school, get back into our teamwork, we get back into the chaos that is our sport. So it's important right now to take that time to reflect on our past year, on our past semester, whatever the case may be, and to really look at what worked for us and what didn't work for us. There's going to be a number of different things that we can kind of dive into and take a look at. So I want to just keep this general and keep this short, but over this past year, for example, for myself, I had a lot of transitions. I had a lot of things come up from last January to now, and so for me, this year was a lot about kind of diving into my own sort of mental health, as well as some reflections upon my previous year and working through my communication skills, working on my business skills, and starting my own business. So for me, the two things that really I focused on this past year was myself, from a mindfulness sort of perspective, as well as my communication side, my relationships with people, and how I build those sorts of relationships. And then in the business side of things, just learning about business and about kind of what goes into building a business, how taxes work, how accounting works, business plans, things like that. The less sexy side of strength and conditioning when you work in the private sector and work for yourself. These are things that, going into strength and conditioning, I had no idea about. I didn't want to learn about accounting or anything like that. I don't care, but now I have to care. So these were important things and rabbit holes that I had to dive into and get into. And so looking back, I had some goals that I had set for myself in reading certain content and producing certain content, for getting my website up, setting up certain things, working through different communication, different lines of communication, and how I see the world and how I view the world and how I communicate with the world and people within the world. And so I've been able to hit some of those goals. I missed some goals, and that's okay. But now I'm reflecting on that, and I'm looking forward at setting up my goals for next year. So when you're looking at this, you want to look at sort of, you've got, your short-term goals, long-term goals. These are really easy to kind of break down. And from short-term, you can look at like this week or this next week. You could look at, over the next month, or sort of 3 months out. And then for the long term, you could look at, say, 6 months, 1 year. And if you're on a 4-year program or a 3-year program, or you're in high school, then you could break that down even further for your long-term goals to If you're in grade 10, you want to look at, you know, what you're going to do in grade 12 or kind of schools maybe that you're looking at, things like that. And then, so that's for the goal setting component coming up, but then in the reflection component, you want to look at asking yourself some simple questions, you know. Look at what your goals were last year. So, what were my goals? Did I hit any? You know, did you achieve your goals? Did you achieve what you set out to do last year? You know, if you didn't, that's okay. But ask yourself, why? Or why not? You know, take some time to really dig deep. I had a mental prep coach that I worked with when I was track cycling, and he had me journaling, and I think that's a great idea for kids, coaches, everyone to set up their own journal and to just start writing down their thoughts and their feelings and how the day goes and how interactions have gone. But one of the pieces of advice that he gave me was when you get stuck, just ask why. You know, whatever you've written down, ask the next question, you know, why? Why not? What happened? You know, ask those sorts of questions. How did this happen? But his was always ask why. Dig deeper. Why this? Why? And continue diving down the rabbit hole within your own sort of reflection. And from that, then you can postulate the goals and the next sort of steps over this next year. And just set yourself up for, you know, a great 2020, and we'll go from there. So if you have any questions about goals or goal setting or really anything in this reflection process, I'd love to chat with you. I'd love to talk to you more about this, but I want you to take this time right now for yourself. Sit down, quiet space, and clear head space. I recommend doing this in the morning or midday, or I don't recommend doing this right before bed, as you know, you can start to get the wheels turning and then you might keep yourself up at night. But find some quiet space, find a book, find a journal, some lined paper, and just start writing it down. Start writing. Just verbal diarrhea, everything onto a page. It doesn't matter, there's no wrong answers. Just start writing and see what comes out. And then go from there. I wish you the best in that. Happy New Year. We'll see you all next year, 2020. Let's make it a good year. Thanks. Bye.